Hello, so today we're going to present our project. And our group consists of Allison Chang, Pauline Kim, and Irene Chang. And the name of our project is ParticiPoint. And basically, the inspiration for this project was, getting participation points in school. We have a lot of classes this year that where participation points is a big factor into your grade. And one problem we saw with that is that for people who are quieter or maybe, don't take as much initiative, it can be hard for them to get all those participation points. So we wanted to create a system that kind of implements a system of fairness throughout so that everyone can receive the opportunities to participate in class and win some easy points. And this is just a system that helps on the teacher side of things to implement this all fairly. So basically, what we have here is the UI for our system, and this is where teachers could put in their students' names and IDs. So Allison, if you could just exemplify how we input students, you just put in their first name and their last name and then their student ID. And so you can do this for multiple students, as many as you have in a single class. And this is going to just help you keep track of the points. Some other interesting features on the bottom left corner, there is a button to reset all the scores. For example, if it's like a new semester, or if you want to like assign points, like a limit the amount of points people can get in a day. Each day they can start with 0, kind of like that. And then you can also clear all data for, let's say, if you have a different class, you're no longer teaching the old set of students and you want to implement a new set of students, you can clear all the data that way. And now let's go to the queue. So we're going to click View Queue on the bottom right. And what it does is it puts all the names of the students into a list that is randomized. And in the queue, it'll just display the first name in the list. And so the teacher can call on that person. So I'll be like, Allison, like, why don't you answer this question? And if she answers it correctly, you can just slide that little slider that says award point. And that will add a participation point to her name. And then you can click next student. And as that goes, you can just, assign points in that way. And then whenever you're done with that class, you can go back to view stats. Oh, sorry, wait, quick point. The reason why we wanted to have that award point feature is so that if you ever do call on a student and that student doesn't want to participate, or I guess they don't answer the question, then you can, or if they're absent, you can quickly just go to the next student without assigning them the point. And then you can click view stats. And here it just lists out all of the participation points that each student has received, and you can see that just listed on the right. In addition to this, we also like to have these plus or the X button so that if a student does reach the max amount of participation points that they're allowed to be awarded in a given day, let's say the max is like 5, you can delete them from the queue so that their name will no longer pop up. So we can just do that to John Doe, I suppose. All right, and you can see John Doe's no longer in the queue, so you don't have to call on him anymore. We also have, as you can see on the top bar, these different things that you can sort by. You can sort by first name, last name, ID number, really anything you want. And that's pretty much the functionality of our system. You can also, you can also search for specific students if you have like a really large class to find the number of participation points that they have. And all right, that's pretty much a brief overview of our project here. Now I'm going to hand it off to Irene to talk about the specifics of our project.
So here you can see the 3 HTML files that primarily make up our website that we can run on locally. So here the base.html, this HTML file, is basically what puts the other 2 files together, because there's only 2 main pages that we really implemented on our file, which is one is the list that displays all the students and their points and where you can input data and sort. And the other one is the one where it displays the student's name, and you can award points based on how the student performed. So this HTML is the one that links both of those pages together, and for the style sheet, we just use JavaScript for the backend, and for the style sheet, we reference this semantic, and it's just a really simple one, really useful for most scenarios. And next one is the edit-1 HTML, and this one was where the list was displayed and what allowed us to sort through. These are declaring variables and what allowed us to filter through the list based on what we choose inside the columns. And this particular loop is for hiding, it's for the search bar. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a search bar on the top left of the list. And this is for, this one will just hide all the others that doesn't match the search query or doesn't match what the user inputted into the field. And next one is the last page, which is the student display page. And this one just has the displaying the student and like these, and also the award point checkbox and next students button, view stats button, which makes up primarily the UI of our websites.
Okay, tell me when you're ready, Irene. So the two data structures we used was a heap queue for the tree requirement, and we also used a dictionary to keep track of the names. So first thing we did, we used Python because it's easiest to code this type of app using Python. So then we imported the heap queue, which is already created in the Python class, so you didn't have to create it ourselves. And then dictionaries are already in Python. So we use the heap queue to basically keep track of the points because we use it to implement our priority queue because we want to keep the highest number of points near the end. So then people with the lower number of points will be called on first, just so it encourages participation for people that have who need it most, the people with the least number of points. So that's how we use the tree to implement it because the heap can keep track of points and organize it through minimum or maximum. So that's why we use the heap queue to implement our priority queue. And we also use a dictionary because we're keeping track of students and keeping track of data based on their students. Like we keep track of their first name, their last name, and their ID. So we wanted to keep all this data together in a dictionary so you can organize everyone's names and we can look through it really easily. Like in this code, you can see that we're taking out student IDs to add names, and then we're adding it to the dictionary. And when we delete names, we can just use a for loop to go into the queue and delete names. So that's why we chose to use a dictionary. And then most of our project took time because we had to learn Python because in class we used Java. So this code is written in Python. We had to look up how to import stuff, like how we can route apps and how we can use methods. And then we also had to learn HTML because we didn't know HTML before. So that's we had to learn how to use HTML. And we also had to decide how to run it because we don't know how to code a website. We originally were going to use Wix, but we realized that we couldn't because they don't have a very good coding thing. And we're going to use GitHub. We also couldn't do that because we didn't know how to use JavaScript and we couldn't set it up. So we ended up just hosting it locally using code and then going to the source using command prompt to run it. So see here that you just use Flask run to run it and then it hosts it on your computer and all the code is here. And then once we do it, it can be locally hosted here. And that's our project. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, I have something to add. So before I said the backend was JavaScript, that was referring to the buttons in the website, not really the uh, implementing the queue and heaps and that sort of things. And also something that we wanted this project to, like, if we were to work on this project later on, plan on making it so, because right now all the users can only put the student or only input the same data, or they see the previous person's data when they get on this because it's locally hosted. But if we were to implement it into like an actual website, we want to make a login system so that users can have their own little class. And also for those teachers that have multiple classes, we also hope to have multiple tabs for these classes as well. Yeah, thank you for enjoying our enjoy our
Thank
project.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.